13891, 13891, don't forget it! 13891, 13891, plus 906. Oh, we're so close to 15! Oh no! Oh no! Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Megan Tennant, in case you didn't already know, and I have a new video for you guys today. Nanowrimo is officially over. Spoiler alert, I lost, and that's okay. And that's part of the reason I wanted to make this video is I've been seeing a lot of videos going up over the last few weeks of people talking about how they won Nanowrimo, and I haven't seen a lot of people talking about failing it. And so I wanted to come out and do this video because if any of you guys watching this also failed, maybe this will make you feel a little bit better. I failed right along with you. And if you want someone to talk about it with, you can rant to me about the issues you hit and all of that in the comments. I was a little concerned about this hurting my credibility, but I'm just gonna come out and say it because I know there are a couple people that this will help. I'm not gonna make any excuses. Instead, I'm going to go a more positive route with this, and I wanted to talk about things that I learned from failing Nanowrimo because I didn't come out empty-handed. I came out with more words than I had when I started in November, and that is always a positive. But I also learned things through not hitting that 50K, and I want to share those things with you guys because maybe you guys out there who also failed learned some of these things too, and maybe you're not really thinking about the fact that anytime we learn, we're accomplishing something, and that's something to be proud of. So before I get to the things that I learned, I suppose I should tell you guys my final word count. I was working on Red River for this, for those of you who don't know, and my final word count was 14,797 words through the month of November. I hadn't added up all of the days when November ended, and if I had, I would have just sat down and written an extra 200 words to get me over that 15,000 mark. But as I said, I learned stuff from it. So I'm gonna go over those things. Make sure to stick around for the last item because that one does come tied with an announcement that is fairly sad, and I considered making a whole video for it, but it would have been a really short video, so I'm just gonna tag it onto this because it is related. So first thing I learned, any words are good words isn't good enough for me. One of the things that people say is really good about Nanowrimo is it forces you to just put out words and not focus on the quality of those words because it's a first draft. It's gonna be messy, you're gonna improve on it later, but at least in regards to me, my story flows best when I'm writing it for the first time. Now, don't go and change your methods to operate under this. I'm not saying that this is good advice. It's just how my mind works. So with Nanowrimo, I tried to force the words, and that just made me more and more stressed because as I was writing them, I knew they weren't gonna end up in the final version. I knew they were garbage. I wasn't happy with them. The more stressed I got, the less I was able to even write forced words, and it just ended up with me feeling just depressed and down and closing the computer and walking away. And I ended up going back and deleting those words, and they're not even counted in my final word count because I didn't keep them. I can't handle the stress of knowing that those words aren't going to end up being used. So when I sit down and I'm writing a scene and I just know the words aren't gonna get used, I'm gonna walk away and think about the scene and come back when I have it more figured out. And that's just the way I personally need to operate. Thing number 2, which I learned, deadlines motivate me without being harmful. I know that for a lot of people, Nanowrimo isn't the best idea because hitting the end and having failed is detrimental to their health. So I haven't really used deadlines in the past to motivate myself to write. So this was kind of a test run for that, and I passed. Nanowrimo is over, I failed, and I don't feel all that disappointed. So I am going to be using deadlines going forward in the future because I did find it motivational. Thing number 3, which I learned, I'm gonna just keep editing as I go. One of the reasons that I wanted to try to do Nanowrimo was to try to train myself to not edit as I go, but I feel like it impaired my writing process. Because what I usually do is when I sit down to write again, I go back and I reread the chapter before the one I'm writing and I edit that chapter. So doing that really helps me with flow because I read the chapter beforehand. So I know where the characters were and what their mindset was and how the dialogue was flowing, and it makes the next chapter then flow better. And out of that, I also get to edit the chapter beforehand. So my first draft comes out a lot more clean than if I just wrote and didn't edit as I went. Thing number 4, which I learned, I'm just not an everyday writer. One of the big things that I wanted to get out of Nano is I wanted to train myself to sit down and write a little bit every day, even if it's just for a couple minutes here and there. I just found that if I was writing for only 15 to 20 minute periods, I couldn't get the words to flow right. If I want to be successful as a writer, I need to have a day where just my entire focus for that day is nothing but writing, because I do so many things between managing Cloud Kitten Publishing, social media management, and YouTube and Patreon, and just all the little things that go into just running this business. I have so many things flitting around in my mind, and it's really hard for me to purge them. And one of the only ways I can do that is knowing that I have a full day where I don't have to focus on any other chores, I don't have to do anything, I can just write. And that day is fully dedicated to writing. So then I never have that voice in the back of my head saying, are you forgetting something? Because I pre-planned out that day to write all day. And I can get fully immersed in the story. And last but not least, thing number 5 that I learned. This is the most important thing that I learned through Nanowrimo. I was in denial. I will admit this issue was staring me in the face for a long time. People have told me it for a long time, but it took Nanowrimo to really drive home how much I was gonna need to change this to make my writing career work. And that is that I just don't have the time to write. It's that simple. Trying so hard to hit that 50,000 words in Nanowrimo, I neglected plenty of things, from chores to relaxation time to reading. I put a lot of things on the back burner thinking that would give me enough time to write, and it just didn't. And in normal months, I don't even put those things on the back burner. So it's really no wonder that that 15,000 words was the most that I've hit in writing in a long time, because I'm just not giving myself the time I used to. When I was writing Aletheia, I had so much less on my plate. I was doing so much less social media management. I actually don't think I even started my YouTube channel until I'd finished Aletheia and I was in the beta reading process, so I've never tried to write with this much on my plate before, and the honest truth is, I just can't manage it. And I've been experiencing a worsening depression and stress and anxiety over the last few months, and Nanowrimo helped show me that so much of that was coming from the fact that I wasn't letting myself write, because I truly enjoy writing. It's stress relief for me, it's relaxation, and I'd cut a lot of that out of my life. I need to fix that, and that means cutting things out. So that comes to the sad news, which is what's getting cut. So the first things I cut were some secret projects that I'm not gonna tell you guys about because they're on the back burner. They're gonna come back eventually, and I'll tell you guys about them then. But 2 things that you guys know about are getting the chopping block. The first thing already happened, and that's that I sliced out all of the video content from Patreon. We've added a couple new things over the past 2 months that weren't there before, which is word critiques from Josh, who is my alpha reader, and there's a couple other things that are on the list now, but all of the video-based content has been stripped from Patreon. Which brings us to the next thing that is being cut, and this one makes me really sad because it is something I really enjoyed, and that is Savory Stories. Savory Stories is a series that both Josh and I love. It's fun. I feel like it's a type of booktube content that isn't really heavily explored, but the truth is Savory Stories is by far the most expensive series we have in terms of both money because of all the ingredients and costumes, but also in terms of time. Josh works a full-time job, so he was having to film Savory Stories on the weekend, which meant he was losing on average 1 full weekend day to Savory Stories. And then for me, I can't really fully dedicate my mind to anything while he's making a recipe. I have to be there to help and change camera positions, so I lose time on that day. But then also editing and video processing and research take alone about another day and a half. So I was losing around 2 days every single week. And as much as we enjoy Savory Stories, it is the least viewed series on this channel. We're not fully killing it. I'm gonna still have the assets and the intro, and we'll occasionally, if we feel up to it, do a video, but it's gonna be more like a couple times a year thing, and it's definitely not gonna be a weekly thing anymore. And there's still gonna be a video upload on Friday. Obviously, this is a video going up on Friday, but Authortube videos take a lot less time and they on average get a lot more views. They're a lot more helpful. So I chose to switch this day to Authortube. Josh is still gonna be on the channel with Megan versus Josh, and also Authortube videos that he's kind of qualified to talk about, like the video on publishing, which you can check out in the description down below. When I was doing content for Patreon, I did make a video which was a speed edit through the most recent Savory Stories video. It's unlisted, so you won't find it on the channel, but I'm gonna add it in the description down below so you can check it out. The video is kind of fun to watch because it's 8 hours of film of me editing condensed way down into 6 minutes, so it's nice and fast and there's music and it's kind of inspiring to watch. And that is gonna get me back on average 2.5 days that I can put fully into writing. That makes me so happy, and it's a mix of emotions. I'm sad to see Savory Stories get cut back, but I'm just so excited to be able to have dedicated writing days now. Tell you guys, I really just needed a slap in the face to wake me up to the fact that I didn't have enough time to write, and having to see summed up in an Excel sheet all of these zeros, that was a huge wake-up call. And the fact that half of that 15,000 words that I got was from a single day where I just sat down and dedicated myself to writing. So if I have 2 of those days a week, that's 14,000 a week, I would have won Nanowrimo. I know these reasons weren't super structured and they don't really apply to everyone, but I wanted to turn me failing Nanowrimo into a positive thing. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you can get notified as soon as I post a video. And if you want to become my patron, there's still content up there, including word critiques, which people have been enjoying so far, so make sure to check it out. You can just search patreon.com for Cloud Kitten Chronicles. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.